Hi friends! We've been learning about transportation, how to get from here to there. This week we spoke about all different kinds of transportation. We spoke about transportation we use on the land, transportation we use on the water, and transportation we use in the sky. What's a kind of transportation that we use in the sky? Hot air balloons? Airplanes. Very good. Yes. And rocket ships. Good. Well, I have a story about a bear who wants to enter a paper airplane flying competition. But he has some problems because he doesn't have enough paper to make airplanes to practice. So let's see what happens to our bear and his friends that live in the forest in the great paper caper. All right, the great paper caper. There was a time in the forest when everything was not as it should have been. There's the bear. Look, he has an axe. Everyone who lived there had been noticing strange things. Branches, they agreed, should not disappear from trees like that. Someone, they agreed again, must be stealing them. And they each in turn blamed the other. But they all had solid alibis, which meant it couldn't possibly be any of them. So the tree thief must be someone else. It was all very mysterious indeed. An investigation was launched to get to the bottom of things. They were each given a different job to do so the tree thief could be caught. Let's see what the sign says. The 112th Biannual Paper Airplane Competition, next Saturday. They took photographs, made notes, and examined every leaf. But no matter how hard they investigated, no clues could be found. He's practicing with the paper airplane. Then an eyewitness report led them to some evidence that had blown in not far away. And it had a bear's paw prints all over it. They had found their culprit. The bear was brought in to have his picture taken and to appear with other suspects, and was kept late into the night to answer questions. The next day, he confessed everything in court, all about the paper airplane competition and how badly he wanted to win. And he knew it wasn't very good. He knew he wasn't very good, and he had run out of paper, and he had no one to ask for help. He was so sorry for taking their trees. He hadn't meant any harm. Well, all right, they thought. But he'd have to make it up to them by replacing the trees. And a paper airplane competition? That sounded interesting indeed. The bear kept his word and made it up to them. And as the others helped him gather up the old paper airplanes, they had an idea. They put them all together and made a new paper airplane. The end. So yes, we can make paper from trees. That's the way it always was done. Now we do something called recycling. So we can take the old paper and recycle it and make new paper rather than cutting down more and more trees. But if we do cut down a tree to make paper, it's always important to do what the bear did at the end of the story, which is plant new trees, because trees are very important. On to the paper airplane competition. We are going to have our very own paper airplane competition. So the first thing we have to do is make a paper airplane. So I'm going to show you how I make a paper airplane, but you can probably go online and find other ways to make paper airplanes. So I picked purple because I'm in a purple kind of mood to make my paper airplane. And I'm going to fold the corners at the top into triangles. We have one triangle, two triangles, and then I'm going to fold it in half. So far, I have my paper airplane, but we need to make wings. So, to make some wings, I'm going to fold them the sides down. So they're almost like rectangles, but not quite, because we have an angle here and an angle here. So they're not full rectangles. So that's going to be my paper airplane that I'm going to put into the competition. So now you could do this a couple of ways. You and maybe mommy or daddy or your brother and sister can each make their own airplanes and see who goes the farthest. Or you can make one paper airplane and throw it a couple of times and see which time you threw the paper airplane went the furthest. But it's important that we measure to figure out which one went the furthest. So I'm going to fly my paper airplane and show you how I'm going to measure how far my paper airplane went, and see if my first or second attempt goes the furthest by measuring how far each one went. Okay? We're going to do this in a separate video. So we'll see everybody later.